I presented the latest updates on the targeted combinations of novel agents with ruxolitinib that has been basically presented at the ASH 2019 and EHA 2020, mostly focusing on the most exciting studies that included the MANIFEST trial, which evaluated the BET inhibitor CPI-610 with ruxolitinib, and then kind of brought quite quick update on the azacitidine ruxolitinib with a longer follow-up that has been already published study. And then basically just focus also on BCL2 BCL-XL inhibitor navitoclax with ruxolitinib, and the oral presentation at EHA with PI3K inhibitor parsaclisib and ruxolitinib. So all of them are very exciting. We are waiting for the longer follow-ups, of course. Most of this has been presented with the median duration of therapy of about somewhere between 15 to 28 weeks. So certainly longer follow-up is required. But there's already interesting compounds, and a couple of them, especially CPI-610, could be moving and actually will be moving into phase 3 study, which will compare ruxolitinib placebo versus ruxolitinib and CPI-610 in frontline. So that's coming and hopefully will bring us some excitement. But to summarize this talk, so I updated basically presented the results of add-on CPI-610 with ruxolitinib, which was the arm 2. The one was adding CPI-610 to patients who had suboptimal response to ruxolitinib. And the results were presented in about 60, 70 patients enrolled. Showed a dropout rate of about 35%, but only 10% due to treatment-related adverse events. Therefore, the combination has been safe and tolerable. And in patients who are basically suboptimal responders to ruxolitinib, showed additional achieved responses after the compound was added in about 1/3 of the patients. Very exciting. That evaluated best, actually, that evaluated spleen volume reduction by 35% by imaging, as well as 50% improvement in total symptom score and both by 24 weeks. Very exciting results were also combination of ruxolitinib and CPI-610 upfront in previously untreated patients with myelofibrosis. And this compound actually showed superior responses in terms of spleen and symptoms, both evaluated the same way. So more than 35% spleen volume reduction and more than 50% improvements in total symptom score by 24 weeks when the combination was given upfront, compared to single agent ruxolitinib that is very well known from COMFORT trials. So here the responses were in the 60 to 65%. So we are all excited to see the phase 3 comparison study. Then I briefly summarized the longer follow-up of the azacitidine and ruxolitinib. That study brought 60 annual patients with a median duration of 35 months, so longer follow-up. This study had a design as basically run-in, so ruxolitinib for 3 months single agent, and then azacitidine added after cycle 3, so 4 and onward, with 25 milligrams per meter square and more. And the median duration of responses with this follow-up has not been reached. Furthermore, kind of exciting and waiting for follow-up of the morphology responses, because this study originally showed that more than 50% of patients achieved improvement in morphology of the bone marrow. So reticulin, osteosclerosis, and collagen at any time on a study or by 24 weeks. And with this update, the results have been sustained in actually in all patients except for one. So the longer follow-up of this combo in upfront patients is awaiting, and especially we'd like to see how the results are going to look in more high-risk patients. The median survival here has been 64 months, but the median survival of patients with intermediate or even low-risk MF has been not reached on this study. Then I focused more on the updates of the navitoclax, the BCL2 and BCL-XL inhibitor with ruxolitinib, which had a similar design as an add-on strategy, or actually this was a strategy with suboptimal responders. So phase 2 study where patient had to be on ruxolitinib stable dose for at least 8 weeks, taking at least 10 milligrams twice a day. And they had to be treated with ruxolitinib for at least 12 weeks in total. And then navitoclax has been added to these patients if they had palpable splenomegaly. And it was evaluated in escalating dose of 50 to up to 300 milligrams a day. And the updated results showed current enrolled 36 patients with the median treatment duration slightly over a year. And the study showed safety. So the worrisome or the most worried side effects of navitoclax, which is on-target thrombocytopenia, has not been observed to the point where it disrupted the treatment. However, dose reduction were frequent. So the most common grade 3 toxicity has been thrombocytopenia, which has been actually observed in more than 50% of these patients. However, it didn't lead to total treatment discontinuation rather than a dose reduction. The investigators showed that over 80% of patients were able actually to reach the maximum dose of navitoclax, which was 300 milligrams a day. And probably the most exciting results showed that navitoclax could overcome ruxolitinib resistance, because in these patients with stable dose of ruxolitinib and still palpable spleen, another 1/3 could achieve, again, 35% spleen volume reduction by 24 weeks. The symptom improvements was even slightly higher in about 35 or 40% of these patients. So again, another exciting compounding combination, which we await in longer follow-up. And then last one was an oral presentation from this EHA, which evaluated PI3K inhibitor parsaclisib with ruxolitinib in a very similar fashion. Patients who have been on ruxolitinib in this study for at least 6 months on a stable dose for 8 weeks again, and had either palpable splenomegaly of 10 centimeters or more, or less than 10, but also associated MPN symptoms. So these patients were then added on the parsaclisib or PI3K inhibitor, which is a novel compound and has more favorable oral one-daily dosing. However, the study had kind of complicated runout with the initial run-in phase and then a safety phase with the different arms based on either weekly, daily, or only daily dosing, and then had different schedule for first 8 weeks and then stable dose later on. The results have been more exciting in the only daily dose of the combination rather than the weekly daily combo, because there has been a more significant dropout rate. Over 50% of the patients stop because of toxicity, and also more significant efficiency. However, slightly modest results compared to the previous study, where the best responses in this study, though, reported mostly as a primary endpoint at 12 weeks, not at 24 weeks, and show improvement in about 20 to 25% of the patients for spleen, and more for symptoms in about 50% of these patients. So again, this study may move actually into phase 3, randomized, for possible approval in the future. So that was mostly my contribution to the MPN virtual Texas workshop this year.